Hello and welcome back to another episode of Good Dreams. Today
Wait,
I'm joined by
wait a minute.
Good
You're not.
Dreams.
You're not Good Dreams. I'm Good Dreams. Hello, people. An imposter has joined us. He is Franklin from Let's Play 'Em All, and he does retro games. But today he's here to discuss the current state of virtual reality in dreams and VR as a whole on PlayStation. So welcome and thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here. So, fun introduction.
Yeah, it is. So VR's been out for about a little over a month on Dreams, and how do you feel about it? Let's hear your thoughts, because you're a VR skeptic, aren't you?
Yeah. So, okay, let's take VR outside of Dreams for a second. Just think of VR as a whole. You have Oculus, which is obviously the first big brand name in VR. And VR has been out for a very long time, and there's never been anything that's been like a big AAA title, anything that's been released that's like, oh my god, I gotta play that. It's been mostly like little mini games and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fair. There has been like some games released with VR support, like Skyrim and Doom, but they've been sort of afterthoughts and not like purely designed for VR.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason for that is the VR market is too small of people who own it versus the developers who are developing for it. So if you're a developer, you're not going to say, hey, I'm going to invest X amount of dollars into into a AAA title if the market's not big enough to support it, right? So it's like a chicken and the egg sort of situation.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think because of that, I think that's why we're not seeing a lot of good titles. And I see VR, and I know you're like a huge supporter of it, but I see VR kind of similar to PlayStation Move. There's some really cool PlayStation Move little games. There was one that was like a Jenga-like game. Well, the Jenga-like one was fun.
The Jenga was alright, but
I think that was like
impressed.
the coolest
Tumble
one.
was its name, by the way.
Yeah, that's it. I think, ironically, the little application demo that they showed with PlayStation Move was the coolest thing that they ever showed. But anyway, I think VR is somewhere in a similar state where we're just getting like mini games rather than full-fledged games. And then you kind of bring VR to into Dreams, and I think it's the first title where VR makes a lot of sense, and it makes sense because people who have VR haven't been able to get like crazy good experiences, but now you can get good experiences in little short spurts. So there's a lot of stuff that wasn't available to you in the past that you have available to you now, which is cool and all. And I think Dreams is like the perfect application for VR, but I still think VR as a whole is not going anywhere very quickly, or not as quick as most people thought.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think it's extremely hard for AAA development to put the money necessary into a product that only has an install base of what, a couple million on PlayStation 4 VR and a few million on Vive and a few million on Oculus, but it's not enough to support a $200 million game, which is why we don't see people taking risks in that avenue, and why the genre is a little stale and only populated by indie developers. But I think the same reasoning is also why VR support on Dreams works so well, because you take away that incredible cost of entry burden of needing millions of dollars to develop a VR game, and say, hey, all you need is PlayStation 4, $30 copy of Dreams, and a $200 PlayStation 4 VR headset, and that's it. That's all you need. So it brings the development entry down to literally hundreds of dollars versus thousands and millions of dollars. And then we can get millions of developers and millions of creators. And yeah, they're home developers or basement developers, but those are also the ones who are going to experiment the most and create these really wacky creations we would never get otherwise. Like, we're never going to get a brick lane simulator if not for Dreams. Like, nobody's going to put $20 million developing bricklayer simulator.
No, and
Yeah.
But here's the biggest problem with it. So you have like Disneyland and Bricklayer and all that sort of stuff.
Beat
How
Saber,
many of
Fruit
those?
Ninja, and yeah.
Yeah, but how many of those experiences have you gone back and said, "Oh, I'm dying to go back and replay this"? They're mostly like play once, forget about it
Yeah.
experiences. Beyond like showing people who come over as like a party trick, like, "Oh my god, check out this." It's not something you're dying to go back and play, and
That
I think that's
is
the biggest problem. So, as cool as it is to have all these like million experiences, if I feel like quality is more important than quantity, and to this point, I don't think we've had great quality. There's a couple off the top of my head. There was Beat Saber, which is phenomenal,
yeah.
and Super Hot, which was like made for VR. But beyond those two titles, I can't think of anything else that's been spectacular. And I think that's going to apply to Dreams as well, where you're going to get a lot of cool experiences, but nothing that you're going to be like, oh my god, I got to go back and play.
No, that is true. It's Dreams has always had a longevity issue where the games, for the most part, are something you play for 5 to 15 minutes and then never touch again. There's very few Dream games where you actually put down, do an hour-long playthrough, and then come back to it the next day to continue on. I think the only one that might fit that bill right now is the Brick Lane Simulator because I legitimately played that for an hour and actually want to go play it again, especially when he updates it. Like he wants to do a space expansion where we go build a space station on the moon, which to me sounds amazing. But you are right. There's not too many long-term experiences, and we probably won't see those for a while because it takes a lot of manpower and development time to create those long-term experiences that last.
I think the Dreams experience too was going to change drastically when they have multiplayer and maybe like little local leaderboards for each game or whatever. Because if they have like a really cool first-person shooter, let's say, because everyone loves those, right? Most popular genre of game. They have a really cool first-person shooter where you can like click and keep playing. Maybe you'll have a battle royale game, which is also an extremely popular genre.
Yeah.
Where like you join or a prop hunt style game.
Oh,
where you click
man.
and join and you queue up with like.
Could you imagine a
10
prop
other
hunt
people.
in VR? Like that would be cool.
Yeah, and they would be really neat, but you'd have to be able to queue up with other random people for it to work long term, and I think that's another part of Dreams that's really lacking. So you have these VR experiences, which is cool, but I still think without multiplayer, it's just never going to be as big as it can be, and I just think VR as a whole, long term, might go the way of PlayStation Move. Really cool, but might go the way of 3D TVs, which Sony at one point in time had like their own little Sony 3D TV. And,
I remember.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really cool tech. I just don't know if VR will stick around long term.
Yeah.
So
I think it's starting to hit its stride. It's taken a while, but I'm very impressed with the recent releases of Pistol Whip and Iron Man VR and Half-Life Alyx. Like those alone all came out in like the same quarter and were really like hard-hitting games. I think system sellers for the genre. Maybe not like almost at AAA, maybe double A or single A. Like they're getting there, but they're not Battlefield or Fortnite or some other AAA title that we're used to seeing. But I think the quality is getting there, and I'm excited to see where Sony tries to take it with VR 2.0 on PlayStation 5, which is coming. There are leaked documents showcasing what it might look like. It has finger tracking support, as we've seen in prototype videos, and I think that's the one that can take it mainstream.
I think, unfortunately, I really hope Sony doesn't pull a Microsoft here, where Microsoft tried pushing the whole Kinect thing, where it's like, oh, you have to have Kinect, and it was like a massive failure.
Yeah.
Where I hope Sony's not banking all their eggs in the basket of VR, because you gotta remember too, there's a lot of people who are gaming who like the controller experience.
Oh, sure.
Or who don't have the big rooms, and if the PlayStation 5 is so focused on this new VR experience that people can't take advantage of. Um, it's obviously not going to be a highly popular selling thing, kind of like how Kinect was suffering
No, it's a
from the whole Microsoft experience.
extremely strong point. I don't think they are though, because the fact they're not launching the VR with the PlayStation 5
it, for sure,
shows that. Although it is very interesting, the whole color scheme of the PlayStation 5, the white, black, and blue, is complete rip off of the PSVR headset, which to me seems like a hint that like, hey, we're really supporting VR. It's going to be all themed after VR once this headset comes out, maybe a year after the PS5. So
I don't know. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. Overall, though, you got to think like Oculus has been around for 8 years. I know people who have them and they don't really use them. I know someone who has PlayStation VR, a couple of people, and they don't touch it. So currently, I think it's more of a
sometimes they collect dust. Of course, they are sold out right now. Like ever since Iron Man VR, they've been sold out. You pretty much cannot buy one on Amazon or pretty much anywhere in store right now, which does seem to suggest they are selling.
I mean, maybe they made such low quantity because they haven't been selling over the last couple of years.
Yeah,
right?
okay, Mr. Skeptical.
Hey,
I, for one, am happy with my Iron Man VR bundle VR headset.
I think the only game you can play right now that's somewhat interesting with VR is Dreams, and even then, like I said, it's really short.
Dreams is definitely the best title the system seller for VR, and I think you're right. Dreams is still in its like alpha beta stage. It's prototype proof of concept. Unless you get multiplayer support, it's not there yet, and that's what the game's lacking right now.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. It should be interesting, but
we will see.
I just mostly want to see better longevity titles that make me want to like go back and play. Like, could you imagine a battle royale like Fall Guys in VR?
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I think that's the beauty. The possibilities are endless. We just have to see and wait for someone to develop them.
Yeah, which, you know, we're 8 years later and we're still waiting for that development.
It takes time. Dreams was like an 8-year development cycle, which is just insane. Thank the Lord that Sony bought them as a studio, because otherwise Media Molecule would probably be dead as a game dev right now, because there's no way they made their money back on Dreams so far.
I don't think that VR will last long enough for the development cycle to catch up for them to make stuff. Like, at some point, you gotta think Sony's gonna say, hey, our numbers aren't very high, let's dump this product. PS Vita is a good example. It was a really cool product. I have one. The tech on it's amazing. They had really good games, but it just wasn't selling because people had phones. And I'm not saying there's an equivalent for VR. I just don't think people are that excited over it. So, I don't know.
Don't you think the PSVR 2.0 suggests they are happy with the numbers?
The what, sorry?
The next gen VR headset they're working on. Doesn't them working on a new gen hardware suggest that they are happy with the current projection?
I see that more as a Microsoft-ish decision, who created the Kinect and who were like, wow, this is such a cool experience. If we can just get this into the hands of more people, they'll see that they'll love it. And
Kinect they didn't do Kinect 2.0 though. They kind of gave up on it when they realized, hey, the Kinect is so interesting because it was such a flash in the pan. Like, it sold like 10 million units in like 2 months or something ridiculous like that. It was like the fastest selling consumer product for a while. And then it just died overnight despite selling so many units.
How about, okay, let's give a Sony example then. How about PlayStation Move? They continued selling it. I mean, they didn't make it 2.0.
The Move was always a Wii knockoff though. And yeah, they still sell it because it's like necessary for VR. And
yeah, but it's a dead product.
Well, it's too good for VR. Well, it's not good. It's acceptable. The controls, that's what's holding back PlayStation VR right now, is the controls are like legitimate, ancient PlayStation 3 technology. So.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about PlayStation 3 technology, we saw the PS5 press event, and they're like, we have new graphics, new this, new that. and then they show a game that was made on the PS3 to start. So,
I mean, yeah.
so just because they're doing something with PlayStation 5, like look at PS3 for example. The system itself had amazing, like from a hardware standpoint, it was amazing, but the architecture was too hard to develop for it. So Sony made a huge mistake by doing it. So I think just by Sony saying, "Hey, we're going to create a new version of it," doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea. Sony went all in with the PS3 hardware, and it was a terrible idea because people couldn't develop, right? So I don't know. We'll see. It'd be interesting to see moving forward. It's not that I don't like VR. I just want to see better experiences, and I think after we're approaching we're over 8 years now. You gotta imagine that there has to be something good at some point where it's gonna be like, oh my god, I have to go buy VR.
Yeah.
Beat Saber's cool, but that's not like a VR headset seller. Superhot's cool. Again, I'm not gonna go buy VR for Superhot, right? So
That's entirely fair, and I think you're right. You have seen the Spider-Man VR tech demo, though, right? Where he's swinging around in a real city.
you said the keyword there, though.
Yeah.
What was the last two words you said?
Tech demo.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But just the potential is there. A Spider-Man VR game would be a system seller, and Sony has the Spider-Man rights. They just gotta make it work.
Oh, look, if they had a full-fledged Spider-Man game, I think Spider-Man is the best game on PlayStation 4. Just because it's the first one that we've received that's like a top-notch game that's vastly different than anything else. Like God of War is good, but it's an adventure game at the end of the day, right? Uncharted series is good, but it's an adventure game. You have a lot of first-person shooter titles and so on and so forth. Spider-Man's just vastly different, and I think if they had that as a VR experience, that was like fluid, that was not a tech demo, for sure, I'd go out and buy it. But they don't have it. Years later, they have a tech demo.
I think they're working on it. Why do you think they want finger tracking for their next-gen controller? So we can do the little Spider-Man finger move in real time.
I don't know. I would love to see it. But again, so I will probably go and get it because I really enjoyed the Spider-Man game and I thought it was amazing. But how many people will go out and buy a VR headset to justify the money for a single game? Think about that as well.
If it's as good as we envision and want it to be, I think it will be a system seller that will encourage other developers to make more AAA titles. It's that chicken and egg scenario. Once you get the egg to hatch, then you'll have another chicken to make more eggs, and then they make more eggs, and it's just a snowball effect.
Yeah, but then you're looking at hold on. All right, let's say in a perfect world, the PS5 comes out this year. Next year, they release a 2.0 of VR, and they release Spider-Man. The Spider-Man sells like crazy. We're now in 2021, okay? It sells like crazy. You're looking at 3 to 4 years before people develop another good title like that.
That is
now
fair.
We're looking at 2024, 2025, maybe, before we start seeing more titles. Before people are starting to get more usage out of their headset they bought 3 or 4 years prior for that one game. So
it's a fair argument. So
unless you have multiple people working on them all at once, I just don't see it.
I don't see it either. I think they'll hopefully are smart and launch with Spider-Man as the VR headsets game to sell. But you're right, they can't put all their talent on VR because then they won't have anybody else to develop PlayStation 5 games. Yeah,
so I don't know. Like I said, I'm skeptical because of what I've seen. Just following the game industry for as long as I have. Seeing them jump on the bandwagon of certain technologies and then jumping off of it. So I don't know. Yeah. That's my viewpoint.
Being skeptical is good.
People who are watching, let me know if I'm completely off base. But
yeah, let us know if you're a skeptic in the comments below, or if you think VR has a bright future. Thanks for joining us, Tel, and we'll have you on for more discussions, I'm sure, in the future.
All right, no problem. Thanks for
Awesome.
having me.
Time, yeah. And for our viewer, thank you very much for watching. We'll be having more podcast-like discussions in the future, so stick tuned to his channel by subscribing. And don't forget to check out our friends at Play 'Em All. They have a retro gaming channel that is incredible with an antique gaming collection that will blow your mind, so be sure to check it out.